Hey everybody, this is Leandra at Momming Insanity, and I want to take you here for just a second and introduce you to my family. Hey Garrett,
What?
what are you doing?
I'm watching YouTube.
What are you watching?
Jimmy Kimmel play with an owl.
Hola.
Adrian, what are you doing?
Hey?
What are you playing?
CSGO.
Maverick, what are you doing?
Watching YouTube.
Watching YouTube? Who are you watching?
I don't know, it's just random videos.
What?
Random videos.
You're watching random videos?
Yeah.
Hey Xavier, what are you doing?
Watching Hulu and drinking a cup of milk.
This is Renlee, my baby girl. She is taking a nap. She has changed our world.
Hi.
This is Patrick, the love of my life, and fellow parental controller. So as you can see, I have 4 teenage boys and a baby girl, and I am just doing this thing we call parenting, and I'm doing my best with the help of my husband to monitor their activity as best as I possibly can. And I have several parental control apps that I will be covering in the next few weeks. The first one that I'm going to cover today is Bark. Okay, the best way I can think to describe Bark is like a watchdog that alerts me to anything just not right, which I'm sure is what they were thinking when they named it Bark. So, this is an app that I install on my phone and on my boys' phones. I happen to have an iPhone and my boys have Android devices. They have the Galaxy S8. It also works though if you have an iPhone and your kids have iPhones, or you have Android and your kids have iPhones. Any combination would work. You install the app on your device and theirs, and then you set up a parent account. I have my parent account username and password, and my kids don't have that account password. And on their devices, I log in with my parent account username and password, but I tell it when I log in that this is a child's device. I just said, hey, let me have your phone, and I installed this app, and I put it in a folder that's called If You Delete, You Are Grounded. They can delete the app, however, but the thing is, if they delete it, Bark notifies me and says, hey, we haven't seen any activity on this device for a while. Or if one of my kids is grounded and they haven't used their phone in 3 or 4 days, it says, hey, we haven't seen any activity on this device for a while. Maybe they've deleted it. So it does notify you of those kinds of things. And it monitors things like email and social media, their text messages. So you can connect their email accounts. It has a list of emails that can be connected. You connect their social media accounts, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Tumblr, Reddit. There's a list of social media type accounts that it can monitor. It monitors their text messages by default. I do know that it doesn't work well with Snapchat on iPhones for kids. If the kids have the iPhone, it doesn't work well or doesn't monitor that yet, but on an Android, it definitely does. So what it does is analyzes their activity on these accounts, and it doesn't show me what they're doing unless it sees something that it's concerned about. Things that it might be concerned about would be drug-related content, of course, adult content, suicidal thoughts and ideas, cyberbullying. It alerts me to the possibility of that. Weapons, it alerts me to. So what happens is, as it watches my kiddos' accounts and activity, if it sees something I should be aware of, it just sends me an email, and it pops up a notification on my phone that says, hey, there's something you should take a look at. I can then go log into the app on my phone, or I can log into the dashboard on the computer, and I can review the things that it has pointed out for me that are issues. For instance, one of my kiddos was in a group chat the other day, or a group text message the other day, where some of the other kids were using language that I would not normally approve of. And it took a snapshot of that conversation with phone numbers and said, hey, check this out. So I could see who they were talking to, or at least the phone number of the person they were talking to, and I could see who was saying what, but only when it was in the part of the conversation where it was concerned about. It doesn't let me scroll through their text messages and spy on them and watch everything. It just alerts me to issues and lets me see those issues. If they take a screenshot or picture of something that is related to one of those categories earlier, like weapons. For instance, one of my kids took a screenshot of his new character in a video game, and that character was holding a knife, and it said, hey, you might want to be aware that there's some weapons related activity going on. So sometimes the alerts are a little bit sensitive, but I'd rather it be sensitive than not, because I don't have time to sit and scroll through everything that they're doing on their devices, and I don't have time to stand over their shoulder and watch all the time. So it's sensitive and it lets me know, hey, this is what's going on. I really just can't say enough about this app. It has been fabulous. It has saved me so much time, because before having this app, I did scroll through all their activity, y'all. And I'm not kidding. I would take their phones. I took their phones every night. I put them in my room, and periodically I would pick them up and I'd just start scrolling and reading text messages and just trying to keep them safe. But Bark does that work for me, because I've got 4 teens and a baby, and I do not have time to sit and scroll through all their activity. It's just not going to happen anymore. Another thing that the app can monitor, because it monitors emails and YouTube and things like that. When kids set up new accounts, I get notified of that. Even if you think about kids setting up new email accounts, oftentimes they have to put in a current email account or a phone number or something to verify that new account. And it will alert me and say, hey, it looks like Xavier has a new email account, or hey, it looks like Garrick has set up a new YouTube account, because it lets me know, hey, I need to plug in another account here to monitor. And it gives me 2 options for setting up those accounts. I can set them up myself, which I prefer because I expect to have usernames and passwords to all of their online accounts. Or I can send them a text from the app that says, hey, I'm using Bark and it doesn't let me spy on you. It just lets me know when something's wrong, when something may be wrong, and would you please connect your account? And it gives them the ability to connect their account themselves. Another really cool feature that Bark has is that once it alerts you to an issue, you can go and click through those issues by child through your dashboard on your phone or on the computer. And when you click through them, if you are concerned, Bark recommends for you, it like gives you some links and some ideas for how might you handle a situation of cyberbullying, or what might you do if your child is having some seriously suicidal thoughts. So it can give you some guidance, and then it checks in later, maybe a week later or so, and just says, hey, we just want to check in. How's it going with this issue? Or just a reminder, we saw this happening, and don't forget, you can use our app, or you can use this guidance. And so it's proactive in the monitoring and in the helping you deal with the issue. One more thing I found really neat was that as I was looking through the issues, sometimes it alerts me to things that I'm not really that concerned about. For instance, maybe text messages from me to my own children about, hey, I saw this in Bark, and I'm kind of concerned about this conversation you had. I noticed these words or this language, or I saw this picture, and as I'm describing the issue to them, Bark monitors that and then alerts me to an issue with my text message to the boys. So I can go in there, and when I see that issue in my dashboard, I can click on a button that says, don't alert me to issues in this group, and then it will quit monitoring the text messages between myself and my kids. So there's a feature called check-ins on the Bark app that's really kind of cool. I can go to check-ins and it will show me a map of where the kiddos are, and then I can hit request check-in, and that they'll get a notification on their phone that says, hey, your mom's just wanting to check in, and it just lets me know that they're safe and everything's okay. I also love just the idea that Bark is not, like, they're aware of it. It's not like it's hidden on their phone. It's not locked down where they can't take it off the phone. It's so open. It just opens doors to conversation. So it allows me to talk to them about internet safety and all of that online safety and social media and all of those topics that are sometimes hard to talk about with your kids. And it lets me say, hey, I saw this going on the other day, and I'm a little concerned about it. Or I asked one of my kids, I said, who's Amy? And he said, Just a friend from school. Why? And I was like, oh, I was just wondering. And he goes, oh, I bet you saw our conversation because she said a cuss word. And I said, yeah, I did. I saw that. And he said, well, you want me to ask her to stop? And I said, well, you know what? That's up to you. You're not the one participating. You're not using that language, but it's up to you to stand up for yourself and say, hey, I don't really like that language. I don't want to hear it. But I'm not your friend's parents, and I'm not going to tell you you can't be friends with them because they use poor language. I can tell you that I'm proud of you for not engaging, and I think that you can be a great role model or a great example to your friends, and you can live that Christian life in front of them, and they can see you be different and they can see you stand out. And so, just having this app, even though it wasn't in this instance my child that was using that language, it just opened the door to be able to have a really good conversation with them about their Christianity and their witness and the ability to just stand out and be different. To be clear, this app is not a filter. It doesn't keep my kids from looking at things or saying things or viewing videos. It just tells me when there's an issue. I have other apps that do apply filters to their internet and allows me to block different social media accounts if I need to, and things like that. I'll be covering that in a future video, but this one just alerts me to the issue. It barks when there's a problem. Okay, this app does come with a small cost. I paid $99 for the year. That's for unlimited kid profiles and unlimited devices per child. And if you couldn't do the $99 up front, you can do a monthly subscription fee. I think it may be like $15 a month or something like that, maybe $10 a month, but it's obviously cheaper if you pay up front and pay for the whole year at once. Small cost, but it's well worth it, and I really recommend it. I do have a link to this app in the description. And if you use that link, it will give me referral credits, so I really do appreciate that. But that's not what this is about for me, guys. I want our kids to be safe. I want your kids to be safe. And in this time and in this world, we have to do everything that we can to make sure that we are set apart, our kids are set apart, and our kids are protected. So I highly recommend this app called Bark, and I hope that it helps you to keep your kids safe. Hey, I've got 4 teens and a baby, y'all. Just trying to stay sane.